It is so good to be back here and in conversation with Zoe. Thank you so much for staying with me. And if you are new here, please show your support and interest in the channel by clicking the subscribe button. Do not stop there. For the returning friends and new family members, please go ahead and like and share this content that you gleaned wisdom from, okay? I'm Zoe, your host, and today I will be introducing a new series titled Becoming in honor of my birthday. It is my birthday week, and I'll be churning out a couple of content and stories that I believe, if you consider them closely and attempt to adapt and adopt these considerations, these key points of mine, you would see yourself in a better way and you would become better. Becoming can, it spans throughout the ages and through every facet of our lives. So the first, becoming better, that's the first of the kind. Becoming better, becoming a better person, becoming a better teacher, becoming a better professional, becoming a better human, becoming a better Christian, becoming a better wife, becoming a better boyfriend, becoming a better neighbor, becoming a better sister, brother, becoming a better leader, becoming a better anything. But of course, it's about positivity, right? Especially when it has to do with in conversation with Zoe, and that's why this is a good starting point. So, drum roll. The first key point of mine is learning versus accepting. There is a difference. And I have thought this through. I have looked into the lives of people who have become better people compared to how and who they used to be. They must have gone through this challenge of, am I learning or am I just accepting because this is the way people say I should do things, or because this is the new way of life, or perhaps this is the new law, Am I accepting? Am I just becoming an accepting person? Am I a yes man? Or am I learning through my no's and my yeses? And this is what I have told myself as well. I have had to learn, instead of just accepting things, values, lifestyles, lectures, content, and stories, in whichever area of my life that would mean. I'm saying this to say that you can become a happier person, a better person at your job, a better individual, if you learn how to be better. It is not gonna be a miracle. Miracles still happen. Miracles versus magic, I can put that in there, but it's not part of my list today. But if you take out yourself, your mind, make out time, and you tell yourself, I am going to learn how to be a better person, you're going to put in a little bit of work or more or a lot of work, because the end goal is going to, be the best thing that has ever happened to you. So becoming better, the first point being learning versus accepting. You're just taking in things and, you're just going with the crowd. That is not a good way to become better, or become a better friend, or become a likable person, or become a more amiable person. That is not the best way to do it. It is a way, but it will cost you a lot of yourself, your emotions, your happiness, your essence, to be real with you. So that's why I would suggest to you to take more of learning, because you have to sieve through what you hear, what you see, what you know, what you read, what people even tell you, whether they are coming from a place of love or not. You have to also humble yourself to learn new cultures, be flexible, be open. Do not be judgmental, because that is not the journey we want to be on when we are trying to become better people. Point number 1, make a conscious effort to learn. Do not just be accepting of everything, whether it's from the pulpit, from whatever religious high stand that's coming from, or whatever higher podium, where your mentors are speaking from. Whether it's you reading a book, whether it's culture, history. Learn. Listen. You can listen to a lot of things, but decide on what you're going to take, because that's what will propel you to becoming better. Point number 2 is influence versus senses. Influence is the biggest form of change and teaching and leaving today, because, more so than ever, the social media space is all about influence, and that's why there is a job called influencers now. That's why there is that career path, as there is a job title called influence or influencing or an influencer, because of how our emotions, our mind's mental states are volatile. Especially with the pandemic, we've had to taking a lot of news, good, bad, ugly, untrue, fake, and all of that, and we have become more volatile and vulnerable than ever. And that is a very sensitive place to be. That's why, if you're going to be a better person, if you want to come on this journey, I'm happy that you are on this journey right now with me on becoming better. You would have to know the difference between getting better through influences and senses. Your senses are very important. You cannot tell the difference to an extent, because it is your senses that will power the influence. You would hear things, you would see things, you would feel things, and that is how influences come into your life. You have to have a gatekeeping mechanism that sieves out things from the learning and accepting now to influence, because it goes what you've heard, what you've seen, and then you receive it. You need to tell yourself, if I do this, if I take this in, if I give my ears to this, if I speak to this, if I allow access with this person or not, what would it do to me? Is it going to make me better? Is it not going to make me better? You have to ask yourself. I posted something recently that I learned of someone, a psychologist, where she said, you always have to ask yourself at any point in time where you meet something new, you encounter a new emotion, you buy a new bag, you're attracted to someone or something, you move into a new house or not, you have to ask this question. I'm going to ask you, based on influence and senses being point number 2, ask yourself, is this good for me? Much more than am I good for it? You have to keep weighing the balance at every point in time. Is this going to better me? Am I going to better this thing and be left with nothing? Life is a transaction, and we have to be pretty conscious of that every time we wake up, we are transacting. Every time we open our mouths, every time we post something, we are transacting. Even your silence is a transaction. So be very careful, be very conscious. I've used conscious of what you're transacting, what you're buying and selling, and back to buying and selling again. Ask yourself, is it good for me? Is this person good for me? Is this event good for me? Is this venture good for me? Is this business idea good for me? Would it do me good? Don't ask yourself, am I good for this thing? You have just dropped yourself. You have just belittled yourself. You have just told yourself, I'm not good enough. Nah. So now you start to hustle to get the thing. No. Ask yourself, don't even waste your energy and your time and your space and your emotions and your anything. Is it good for me? Is she good for me? Is he good for me? Point number 3, self-care versus self. This is a very tricky subject matter. Self-care took over the airwaves, and every wave, religious wave, relational wave, every wave possible, because of the pandemic and how social distancing affects our mental health and, just changes our dispositions in different ways. There is a difference between self-care and self. I will expand on that in my next episode. Self-care is you putting your peace, your future, your plans first. Positively, not selfishly, but self says you put yourself only and it's only you. That's what self and selfishness is about. There is a difference between self-care and self. It's a very thin line though, because people say when you put yourself first, that's a tad selfish, isn't it? Well, of course it is selfish, but it is not negatively selfish. That's the point. The negativity in self and selfishness is that nothing else matters. But with self-care, everything else matters. But you matter most. Ooh, that sounded good. I'm going to tweet that. I'm going to create a poster of that. That's so good. Everything matters, but you matter the most. Okay? All self and selfishness would mean that you would damn the consequences. And I understand that. I say it too. I protect my peace like it's an egg. I protect my peace like it is an egg. It is so important today. But I always think about, others as well. Number 4, becoming better. Relationship versus relationship. My journey to betterment and becoming better has strongly been founded on my relationships. First, relationship with God as a Christian. I have become so attached to Him that before I do anything, whether I know it's not going to yield anything or it's going to yield everything, I always, consult God first. I invite Him to it. Even if He's quiet over it, I'm like, God, I talk to you. I'm going ahead, That is a relationship. It means that I care and I consider your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions before I do something. Because I also know that where you're coming from is a place of love and care and attention, right? So we're both appreciating. But the other type of relationship is you giving yourself totally to your relationships and forgetting that after these relationships, when you go back to your room, when you go back to your home, when you go back to when you're alone, when things break up in your life, when things go south in your life or go crazy in your life, you're the only one that is going to go through that. They may be there to hold your hand. They may be there to console you, comfort you, cheer you up, all the great stuff. but you're the only one feeling it. And that is why I have decided to put my relationship with God first. Every other thing will follow. Yeah, try that. You know how David, through all his misunderstandings and misbehaviors, he always put God first? That is such a great blueprint to becoming better, because he was human. He accepted his human self, his humanity, and all of that. But he always realized and knew and established that there was someone else higher than him that could say it's time or it's not time, and that was watching over him. And that is that's me right now. I don't beat myself up too much anymore when things go crazy and when things, pack up. I don't, because I know God was aware of it. He let me go through with it for a reason, and he has a reason that he's going to make good. Yeah, that's it. Point number 5, final point before I give my final thoughts. Impressions versus impact. Becoming better, you have to think about the other person. You have to think about other people. You just don't want to make an impression on your colleagues, on your new classmates, You don't just want on your new boyfriend or love interest or friends or, girls that are around you or neighbors. You don't just want to make an impression. You want to leave an impact. That is such a that's a glorious point. If you are going to be graceful in this journey and successful in this journey to being better, to becoming better, then please consider this strongly. Always think of the impact you're going to leave in someone's life, even if you don't end up with them, even if you're not friends anymore, even if you're friends from a distance. Make sure you make an impact, a positive one, not just an impact. Don't be too concerned with making an impression. Impressions are surface, like impressions fizzle. Impressions are like happiness. But joy is impact, because it is long lasting. It stays with the people even when they hate you. They know the truth of your value and the value that you brought to their lives. Or that thing you said, it will stick with them, whether you give them a good advice, no matter how harsh it was or at the wrong timing. They know that yes, you meant good, but yes, things didn't work or whatever. They would take that away, and in maybe their next opportunity, they might be better people. Okay, I hope you can marinate and blend these together, all the points, okay, because they're all linked. And if you notice, you are at the middle. You're the center. You're the center of this whole experiment and journey. I hope you have a great experience as we grow along in this becoming series. Thank you for joining me. I will see you on Instagram and on Twitter at Zoe Chinaka. Leave me your comments below what you'd like me to put up next on the Becoming series, because I know and I believe it's going to change our lives. Thank you. Mwah.